So Steve, we're talking about the Windsor Eton game, and I guess it's disappointing the third year on the trot where we've gone out in a game where at the Vase, in a game where we've probably looked the better team, just giving away sloppy goals.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, I guess. I mean, I think maybe Windsor would have something to say about us claiming to be the better team. I guess ultimately football's about who's the most effective team, and yeah, you know, their game plan has obviously proved to be very effective, somewhat assisted by a couple of moments of naivety from our defensive unit.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, again, you had to change your lineup and the team. You were missing players, you had players in different positions, all sorts of problems.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look, every manager has got a tale of woes, particularly when you lose. But I think we worked out, based on the boys that are signed on for us, I think there's probably 7 who would probably make our strongest 16, who for whatever reason were unavailable to us on Saturday. So that's, in fact, there's also another, just thought of someone else who's cup tied. So you could almost argue we had half a squad missing, and but that's life, you know. It's just one of those things. I still felt we put out a very strong starting 11. You know, the obvious gamble was fullbacks. You know, we went with 2 very, very attack-minded fullbacks, which I think we saw the benefit of going forwards. But I think that defensive unit has never played together, so it's a big one to have your first rehearsal.
Yeah,
and on top of that, Vase is coming back from his sort of prolonged suspension.
Yeah, but even so, you can't really say that we suffered too badly in terms of our full-backs. I know you've got Gallo, who's a striker playing left back, and young Leo, but we seem, other than their silly goals that we have with, we weren't that bad at defending.
No, we weren't. But
you know?
I mean and look, I'm certainly not putting any responsibility on the fullbacks. By the way, I'm just saying as a defensive unit, there wasn't a massive amount of minutes played on a pitch together, and I guess when you look at maybe the first goal, there's a little bit of a lack of communication. You could probably say the same thing about the second goal as well. Whereas the biggest strength, in my opinion, of Windsor was the resilience and organisation of their backline. They were a very, very tough nut for us to crack, and that's obviously what they've built their success on. Whereas we kind of had to throw caution to the wind and just try and work on attack being the best form of defence. But if you only get 1 goal for your troubles, you obviously haven't been successful there.
Yeah, I mean, it started out, they could have scored in the first minute, but then it settled down to us having a possession, but nobody to break them down. Well, I could say that was down to their strong defensive structure.
Yeah, they were resolute. I mean, we watched them in a league game week previous, in fact 2 weeks previous. We had video footage of them as well, and what was very obvious was that they are a side built around being very hard to break down and very hard to score against. I think they've only let in 11 goals, or 12 now, all season.
And lost something like twice, was it? Something silly.
I believe they've only lost once, and I don't think they've lost away from home. So, you know, they've obviously put Vase out in the previous round. So you're dealing with a good side. That they've got 6 games in hand of the team at the top of their table, and they're only 7 points behind them. So you could make an argument. I think maybe Ardley United would have something to say about it, but you could make an argument they're probably the favourites to win that league, and that's not a bad league either. Well, you know, it's a pretty strong league. So we'll see what happens when they play Fisher in the next round, but they're a good side.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. The game was going that way, where it's us against, you know, attack against defence. But then we're going to give them, 2 awful goals. The first one, which is questionably offside, and the second one is just a real cock-up, for want of a better word.
To be honest, I think they're both cock-ups, for want of a better word. I mean, we can have the post-mortem. You know, obviously there's a miscommunication between Ivesy and Leo on the header. With the benefit of hindsight, Leo just puts his head through that, problem solved. Vase's starting position for me is wrong on the first goal. I think if he's more penalty spot, 6-yard box, the guy doesn't have the opportunity to kind of lob him. Not that he does, because Bence gets a hand on it, but I just think if Bence is 5 yards back, that problem doesn't occur. And Gallo has obviously lost the eye line of the guy who ultimately scores. Now, I haven't gone into too much detail with that, but my coaches that have watched it back are saying that he makes his run from an offside position. It's very tight, but yeah, despite all our frailties, if it was offside, then that's pretty frustrating. The second one, that's just shambles from us. Like,
yeah, it just comes all the way through.
It's a cross, isn't it? You know, the guy's crossed it, speculatively crossed it, and I believe Bence has called for it based on what other people are telling me. I've not had the debrief with Bence personally. Him and Gallo kind of both leave it to each other, and I think somebody's given it to their guy, but I don't think he's touched it. I believe it's gone straight in from the cross.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
Real comedy. If you're not involved, it's funny. Obviously, when you are involved, it's hard to see the humorous side. But yeah, it's a shame because I think they were the only 2 serious attempts they've had on goal, other than the one straight from the kickoff, where in fairness the guy should hit the target with that header, you know. But after that, I don't think they had a shot on target until the 65th, 70th minute. So
yeah, frustrating because I mean I thought it was quite telling at half time. They ran off the pitch and then ran back on because they're obviously really well drilled, and you know it just kind of, how do you then turn around, because we've been playing okay. What do you say at half time to get the guys back up again? Because it's not like they're playing badly.
I think getting people back up for it wasn't really needed. Like the boys, you know, the mistakes have happened. With the exception of that, we have had far more of the possession. You know, their argument would be, well, what are you actually doing with that? I would suggest, you know, we've had the one where Trev has been flagged offside as he's prodded the ball home. That isn't offside, incidentally. Linesman's got that wrong. We then had the header from Trev again, which has hit their bloke on the side of the head and luckily deflected wide. Now, I've watched that in slow-mo. He doesn't have a clue. And that's on target. Fair play, though. You've got to earn your luck. We've had a couple of speculative long-range shots. We've then had the ridiculous decision to book Joffrey. You know, like the ball's there to be won. Their guy hasn't got it under control. He's gone in, foot's completely on the floor. He's won the ball. As he's followed through, their guy's gone over. There's no malice in it. There's no attempt to injure. Joff's got up. He's now on the touchline with the opportunity to pull the ball back for something along the 6-yard line, and they've given him a yellow card. They couldn't wait to give him a yellow card.